You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 6th of March. PM Modi calls for year-round tourism in Uttarakhand, showcasing its untapped potential. Pakistan rises to second in Global Terrorism Index. And 8 Nepal deportees from US arrive in Kathmandu. And now for all the details. Winter tourism was at the forefront as Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Uttarakhand, highlighting the state's immense potential for year-round travel. Speaking at a public gathering, he outlined plans to extend tourism beyond peak seasons, develop border villages, and enhance pilgrimage accessibility with major infrastructure projects. A report.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during his visit to Uttarakhand on Thursday, reiterated his vision of transforming the state into a year-round tourist destination. He offered prayers at the winter seat of Ma Ganga in Mukwa and emphasized the potential of Uttarakhand's breathtaking landscapes to attract visitors beyond the traditional peak seasons. Addressing a gathering, Prime Minister Modi urged the people of Uttarakhand to embrace the concept of Barakmasi tourism, where every season remains active for travelers. He highlighted that the state's unparalleled natural beauty, from snow-covered peaks to its deep spiritual significance, should be showcased throughout the year to ensure economic stability for local businesses.
अपने टूरिज्म सेक्टर को डाइवर्सिफाई करना, 12 मासी बनाना, 365 दिन, ये उत्तराखंड के लिए बहुत जरूरी है। मैं चाहता हूं कि उत्तराखंड में कोई भी सीजन हो, कोई भी सीजन ऑफ सीजन ना हो।
Prime Minister Modi also spoke about the government's ongoing efforts to rehabilitate villages evacuated during the 1962 India-China War. 2 such villages in Uttarkashi are now being developed as major tourist hubs under the Vibrant Village program. These are not the last villages, they are our first villages, he asserted, emphasizing the need for border area development. Praising the double-engine government of Uttarakhand, PM Modi highlighted key infrastructure projects, including the Kedarnath and Hemkund ropeway projects. These projects, he stated, will drastically reduce travel time and make pilgrimage journeys significantly easier. He also lauded Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami's leadership and initiatives, particularly the winter tourism program, which has already attracted thousands of devotees to the winter seats of Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath, and Badrinath.
Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar on Wednesday called for the unification of Jammu and Kashmir, stating that the conflict in the region will be resolved once Pakistan returns the stolen part of the territory. Speaking at a session at Chatham House in London, Jaishankar responded to a query by a Pakistani author on Kashmir and said that the Indian government has made significant strides in restoring stability, economic growth and democratic participation in Jammu and Kashmir. He underscored that the decision to abrogate Article 370, which granted special status to Jammu and Kashmir, was a crucial step towards fully integrating the region into India's constitutional framework and ensuring that the people of Kashmir benefit from the same rights and opportunities as citizens across India. Jaishankar asserted that India is now only waiting for the return of the stolen part of Kashmir, which is under illegal Pakistani occupation. When that's done, I assure you Kashmir is solved, Jaishankar added.
On Kashmir, actually we have done, I think, a good job solving most of it. I think removing Article 370 was step number one. Then restoring growth and economic activity and social justice in Kashmir was step number two. holding elections, which were done with a very high turnout, was step number 3. I think the part we are waiting for is the return of the stolen part of Kashmir, which is on the under illegal Pakistani occupation. When that's done, I assure you, Kashmir solved.
Talking about China, the Indian Foreign Minister said that while India wants a stable relationship with Beijing, it must be a mutually respectful one, emphasizing that New Delhi's interests must be recognized. Jaishankar noted that for over 40 years, peace and tranquility along the border were considered essential for bilateral ties to flourish. However, he pointed out that China's actions along the line of actual control in 2020 disrupted this understanding. He acknowledged that progress has since been made in resolving urgent issues, including the disengagement of frontline troops in October 2024. High-level engagements, including a meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping in Kazan, as well as discussions between Jaishankar and Foreign Minister Wang Yi, have contributed to improving diplomatic ties. Calling ties between New Delhi and Beijing unique, he acknowledged that while certain issues remain unresolved, India remains committed to a relationship built on mutual respect and recognition of each other's concerns. Pakistan has ranked as the second most terrorism-affected country in the world, according to the latest Global Terrorism Index, exposing Islamabad's failure to curb extremist violence. Terrorism-related deaths surged by 45% in 2024, reaching 1,081, the largest year-on-year increase in a decade. Terrorist attacks more than doubled from 517 in 2023 to 1,099 in 2024, crossing 1,000 incidents for the first time since the index inception. The GTI squarely links Pakistan's escalating crisis to the Taliban's return to power in Afghanistan, stating militant groups operating from Afghanistan have intensified their attacks, particularly along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. The Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan remains the deadliest terror outfit, responsible for 52% of all terrorism-related deaths, followed by Baloch separatist groups like the Balochistan Liberation Army and Balochistan Liberation Front. In an attempt to control the situation, Pakistan has launched counter-terrorism initiatives such as Operation Azm-e-Ishtihkam, but the report suggests that these efforts have done little to curb extremist violence. With terrorism reaching unprecedented levels, Pakistan faces the consequences of its decades-long policy of nurturing and harboring terror outfits, policies that have now come back to haunt it. A new travel ban by President Donald Trump could bar people from Afghanistan and Pakistan from entering the U.S. as early as next week, according to a report by news agency Reuters on Thursday. Trump issued an executive order on January 20th, requiring intensified security vetting for all foreigners seeking admission to the U.S. to identify potential national security threats. The order directed several cabinet members to submit a list by March 12th of countries whose travel should be partially or fully suspended due to deficient vetting and screening information. According to the report, citing sources, Afghanistan is expected to be included in the recommended list for a complete travel ban, while Pakistan is also likely to be added. The ban could affect tens of thousands of Afghans who have been cleared for resettlement in the U.S. as refugees or through special immigrant visas, as they face the threat of the Taliban retribution for assisting the U.S. during its 20-year war in Afghanistan. The move echoes Trump's first-term travel bans on travelers from 7 Muslim-majority nations, a policy that went through several legal battles before being upheld by the Supreme Court in 2018. Former President Joe Biden repealed the ban in 2021, calling it a stain on our national conscience. The Sri Lankan government on Wednesday urged India to take concrete steps to resolve the long-standing fishermen dispute between the two nations, emphasizing its adverse impact on northern Sri Lankan communities. Addressing Parliament, Sri Lanka's Minister for Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation, Bimal Ratnaike, called on both the Indian central government and the Tamil Nadu administration to prevent Indian fishermen from straying into Sri Lankan waters. Emphasizing that the livelihoods of northern Sri Lankan communities depend on fishing, Ratnaike urged India to ensure that their means of survival is not jeopardized. While acknowledging India's various forms of assistance to Sri Lanka, including support during the LTTE insurgency, he questioned the sincerity of past aid if India fails to address the ongoing fishing conflict. His remarks comes just weeks ahead of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's anticipated visit to Sri Lanka. According to local media reports, Modi's fourth visit to Colombo is expected in the first week of April, during which he and Sri Lankan President Anurakumara Dissanayake are likely to discuss the fishing dispute along with other bilateral issues. Kathmandu witnessed the return of 8 Nepali nationals on Wednesday after being deported from the United States under President Donald Trump's executive order targeting illegal immigrants. The group arrived at Tribhuvan International Airport aboard a Gryphon Air Gulfstream chartered aircraft from Southern Hemisphere via Albania. This marks the first time Nepali deportees have been flown back on a chartered flight. Previously, 27 Nepalis had been expelled through regular international flights. According to Nepal Civil Aviation Authority, the deported individuals included those residing illegally and others accused of immigration violations. Following their arrival, Nepal Police's Human Trafficking Investigation Bureau interrogated the deportees regarding their journey. Superintendent of Police Narendra Kuwar confirmed that some had travelled to the US via Brazil, violating immigration laws. However, the deportees declined to file complaints against traffickers who facilitated their illegal entry. Since Trump's executive order, the US has intensified deportations of undocumented Nepalis, with arrivals recorded since January 22, 2025. Authorities estimate that over 3,500 Nepalis face deportation orders, while 1,300 are at immediate risk. The crackdown aligns with broader US immigration policies targeting undocumented populations. More than 500 Buddhist monks from 12 different countries, including Nepal, Thailand, Myanmar and Sri Lanka, have gathered at the birthplace of Lord Buddha in Nepal's Lumbini for the International Tripitaka chanting ceremony that began on Wednesday. The 4-day event, organized by All Nepal Bhikkhu Federation, is dedicated to highlighting the region's spiritual significance and spreading the universal message of peace. Before the chanting commenced, a procession was also organized. It saw musical performances and featured a beautifully adorned Buddha statue and a Tripitaka making its way to the main venue. Tripitaka is a collection of knowledge and religion which Buddha preached continuously for 45 years. It is considered the main religious scripture of Buddhism.
This event is significantly important to the world today. By chanting Lord Buddha's teachings, the event will help spread Buddhism globally, and a number of people can learn and be inspired.
That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.